I surprisingly have never really delved into watching anime, getting my fill, my needs satisfied from scrolling through r/anime memes. But I was really into it a few years ago when The Haven had just shut down and when 177013 was still a thing. If you know, you know. But I just feel like I've been missing out on some of the most recent stuff, so I decided to watch the most viewed anime ever. The title of the most viewed anime ever is called Ane wa Yamama Junchuchu. Ane wa Yamama Junchu. Okay, I don't know why I'm saying this as if it means anything to you guys, but this anime is about a lucky MC whose stepsister had recently moved back from home with a delinquent husband to take care of a recently born second child. Now if you're smart, you may already have the foresight to see what tags are going to be in this video. I did not. It has NTR. How is this number one again? Anyway, the Off-Brand Anime feels like it looked up how to be a big YouTuber on YouTube because it does what you're supposed to and it gives us something to hook us, the viewers, right within the first 10 seconds of the anime. We see her with a top off feeding her child. Bam! I am already invested in this because most off-brand anime tend to get their 1 to 2 minutes of exposition before devolving into degeneracy. But this anime knows what you're here for. I mean, it's a 16-minute episode. I think everyone knows what you're here for. But as a good rule to note, if you want any semblance of a good plot, like a solid story, something like Rants, you're probably gonna need like 20-minute long episodes minimum, if not 25 minutes. Because let's be honest, this anime that I'm showing has 1 minute of plot stretched over 2 episodes. And the reason why I keep panning the camera back to me is because literally there is not enough safe for work scenes to fill out even half this video. Anyways, back to the anime. The stepsister, whilst feeding the baby with her Funyuns, decides to become a real bro and asks if the MC wants a taste. And then she looks at his face of disgust and tries to pull off what I call the middle school dating gambit, which you can try for yourselves. All you have to do is ask out the girl and say just kidding right after it, because if she accepts, well then you're dating, and if she rejects you and calls you a freak and laughs it off, well, it doesn't matter because you were just joking. Yeah. But in the anime, the gambit actually works and the protagonist agrees to drink her milk, which eventually devolves into some heated stuff. But it doesn't matter because just like the stepsister said, we're siblings, so this one doesn't count. But little did she know it did very much count. Now for some reason, episode 2 of this starts in a beach, which is normal for an anime because typically they use a beach episode as an excuse to give fans a bit of fan service, or so that fans don't drop the anime halfway, but you really don't need to do it in off-brand anime. I mean, you literally could have just made everyone strip their clothes at a church and no one is questioning it. But sure, whatever, and since they're at the beach, of course the stepsister asks the protagonist to put some sunscreen on her. You know the deal. But I actually really find this amazing because it's not often that you find in animes like these that you can have a role model that you can look up to, showing you that you have to put sunscreen on when you're at the beach. And it's like a 2-minute demonstration. If I had a role model like the stepsister during my time, maybe I would have put on some sunscreen when I was on the beach. Yup, you are looking at 2 weeks of painkillers and pain. I was really living the snake life for that time. I was shedding dead skin for a whole month. But yeah, it's nice that this anime provides a role model like the stepsister over here to millions of viewers watching, which, let's be honest, are mostly 15-year-old children. But whilst we have the stepsister, who I believe to be an amazing role model to have, we also have the main protagonist who maybe isn't such an amazing role model to have. Because in the next scene, suddenly the stepsister gets hit on, and all he has to say is... which surprisingly did not work, but you have to give him credit because that is honestly more than most rom-com protagonists. But whilst he was shivering away, we finally see the Chad. The dad. Maybe there's a reason why it rhymes. And now to give context, the dad throughout the whole anime has not had a single line, or has even shown his face throughout the whole anime. And all this time I had the mindset that he was this delinquent dad who was horrible to his family or had gone out for some milk. I mean, gone out for milk at the milk store, you know, not the other type of milk. And that's why I was able to accept all of this NTR so far. But now knowing this, now that I know that the dad is a very caring person, And what's even worse, they show him playing around with his son. Bro, it feels bad. I feel so bad, man. So now I still have to watch 13 minutes of this. Okay, I say endure 13 minutes, but it's not actually that bad because the animation in this anime is amazing. Amazing. Especially for an off-brand anime. But I still feel guilty, and it gets even worse when the son catches them two doing some CPR, as they say, behind the rock. And then after doing more of the CPR in every place you can imagine, we finally get to the conclusion of the anime that you probably could have guessed by now. She's pregnant. With his kid. Not the dad's, his kid. And then they just cut to a happy ending. Is this a happy ending? I don't know, but I mean, the one who got screwed the most out of this anime was surprisingly the dad. When I was watching this, I wondered to myself why this got so many views. Honestly, I really didn't like the show when I was watching it, but this really does do good animations, and the scenes were plentiful and honestly amazing to watch. Now, I still don't like NTR, like this did not convert me, but I feel like it's kind of like the situation that I had with Berserk, where I do not like manga, but I can recognize Berserk as a masterpiece. As with this anime, I can recognize that it is definitely a really good anime. So go watch some Ane wa Yanmaba, and I'll see you in the next video.